Okay, so we have our portobello mushrooms. For this, I'm just gonna use 2. I'm not gonna make that much bacon today. This is just a proof of concept, a test of the theory, just to show that, you know, we can make bacon from just about any mushroom. And really, I wanted to get these because every time I use king oyster mushrooms, everybody always says, where did you get that? I can't find these mushrooms in my area. And I know, they're probably difficult to find. They don't sell king oyster mushrooms. They don't sell some of these big giant lion's mane mushrooms in grocery stores near you, but they most likely sell portobellos. Now, the big thing that I always see with portobello mushrooms when people make portobello mushroom bacon is that they slice it long ways, right through the mushroom. And then you end up with like this thin mushroom, like weird strip that isn't even remotely close to actual bacon in texture or taste. But, there is another way of doing it. First thing that we need is a mandolin. We wanna make sure that our mushrooms are brushed nice and clean. We're gonna set our mandolin to one of its lowest settings, whatever lowest setting that your mandolin goes to. And then we're just going to slowly get ourselves a strip of portobello mushroom. Now this is just a small strip, but let's see if we can keep going on that and end up with a slightly bigger strip. I think this worked out pretty nice. It's a little bit bigger. I love what we're getting in these like strips. I think these are gonna be really good. It's just hard, you know, I kind of wonder if I should have used my deli slicer. That might have been really the way to go. Now that was a little tough to get through the mandolin, so I do kind of want to see what would happen if I cut this into 3 strips. You definitely have to be with these mushrooms, with these portobello mushrooms, is they break pretty easy. So you got to hope that you have a pretty sharp mandolin to get these strips that you're looking to get. So you could see at this point that I really do have quite a bit of a mess. You know, I have all of these little chunks of pieces of mushrooms. The thing about the portobellos is they're a lot stiffer than a lot of the mushrooms that I work with. Like king oysters are a lot more rubbery. There is a lot more movement to them. So that kind of helps getting these longer strips, but we're still able to get pieces, thicker, wider pieces of like usable bacon strips like what we have here. That's gonna be like a nice piece. You know, these are gonna be nice pieces. These are gonna be all really nice pieces. It's gonna work out really well. So the next step is to kind of like brine these. I'm gonna do a salt brine, but we're also gonna incorporate a little bit of flavor to get, you know, part of the flavor started. So first things first, what we wanna do is mix together some salt and brown sugar to make the brine for this. So for our brine, I'm gonna do probably about 1/2 cup to 3/4 cup of salt. The exact measurements on this aren't super duper important, but you know, we want it to be fairly even. I think that's about 1/2 cup of salt. I'm gonna do about the same mixture in brown sugar. It's gonna incorporate a lot of the sweetness into this mixture. Then just for fun, we're gonna add about 1/2 teaspoon of liquid smoke. It's gonna just put the smokiness right into the brine. And I think that's gonna be really good. I think it's gonna really impart that flavor. Now, salt brines work through the process of osmosis. If you saw my last video where I did the mushroom salt test, a lot of that's coming from here. We're just kind of removing the water from the mushroom and imparting the flavor back into it. Let's give the brine like a nice whisk and make sure that salt and brown sugar and liquid smoke get mixed evenly together. So all we have now is just a separate non-reactive container. I just got like a plastic kind of Tupperware container. We're just gonna do a little bit of the salt on the bottom. Doesn't have to be like a super even layer. It's okay if it's like a little off. Then we're just gonna start with some of our flat pieces here and lay them down. Now the nice thing is this brine here takes care of a lot of the bacon-y flavors that exist. Your saltiness, your smokiness. Right off the bat, we're getting some bacon flavors, which is nice. Then once we got all the strips in there, we're just gonna make sure we just top them off with the salt mixture. We're just gonna cover this up, throw it in the fridge for about an hour. That should be enough. I think it's gonna be enough. Super easy. One of the easiest bacons, using very easy ingredients. It's what you all ask for. No crazy ingredients on this one. So I'm about to be 41, Monica and I are getting married soon, and I want my face to look good, so let me tell you about today's sponsor. Geology is the fastest growing men's skincare brand in the USA, and everyone is talking about them, and I mean literally everyone. From Forbes, Dudefluence, Mashable, and even Cracked said, Geology makes men's skincare less scary. And they were right, because honestly, I knew nothing about skincare, and after using Geology, I feel like my face looks pretty good for an almost 41-year-old-ish. All you do is head to their website, take the quiz, and then they personalize a skincare regimen for you. I got regimen number 1, which means I use a daily face wash first thing in the morning, and then I apply a morning cream that has a UV protectant and helps reduce blemishes and discoloration. Then at night before bed, I use the face wash again, apply an under eye cream, and a night cream. The night cream helps prevent wrinkles and makes my skin smoother and softer, which I think it is. And again, I am absolutely loving Geology. I really do feel like I am looking younger, and it's so easy. It's just a few minutes in the morning and the evening, and you're getting results. So again, click the link in the description below and head over to Geology's website. Take the skincare quiz and get up to 40% off when purchasing your first personalized trial set. And I know some of you are just like me and have been using Geology for a while now. Head over to your account and upgrade your regimen. The plans are starting at just $20 and you can save up to 40% on your first purchase. Thanks Geology again for sponsoring today's video and making me look so good. Okay, so these have been sitting in the fridge for a little over an hour. You can see, look at the amount of liquid that's in there. All of that was in these mushrooms, so that helped tighten these mushrooms up to give us a little bit better strips. So the next thing that we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to wash off some of this salt a little bit. So the best way to do that, instead of just running these underwater, we're just gonna dip them really lightly into a bowl of cold water. Just dip them into the water. You'll see all of the salt and everything just kind of rinse away. And I just love the way that these came out. So at this point, I am just gonna cut a few into some strips versus just being like these bigger pieces. And it's okay, because really this isn't like your normal big bacon strip. I'm just gonna have smaller little strips, chunks, but they're gonna be at least really good. It's gonna make sense. The texture of these is just phenomenal, and it really makes me excited about what's about to come. Now here we're gonna make like our bacon flavor broth. Now I have my bacon flavor broth that I've used in a ton of videos, but we don't really need to do a lot of that because these should already be fairly salty. We are gonna use a little bit of soy sauce, but we don't need much for this recipe. So let's just start off with about a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. I don't have enough, but it's as much as you can get. About 1/8 of a cup of maple syrup. So it's what, 3 tablespoons probably is what I'm thinking. Then we're gonna do about a tablespoon of really light oil. I'm gonna use some grapeseed oil. You can use some olive oil. Like, olive oil is gonna have a little bit more flavor, but it's okay for this part here. Teaspoon smoked paprika, 1/2 teaspoon onion powder. Let's crack in some fresh black pepper. Let's whisk together our marinade. Now, normally when we marinate these mushrooms, we would let them sit in this for a while. This time, all we're gonna do is just dip them in, throw them in a pan. So let's get our pan heated up. We're gonna do kind of like a medium heat with a little bit of olive oil in the pan. Dip your mushroom into the marinade, and while it's dripping wet, get it right into the pan. Simmer these up, cook them up until they're nice and cooked, browned on each side. Gently flip them over. Make sure that they're nice and done. You don't want them too far done, otherwise you're gonna make chips. Throw them on a rack, they will dry out. Now let's toss in the rest of our mushroom bits into the sauce. Once you're done with that, toss them up, let them sit for just a few minutes, toss those in the pan. I mean, and then just look at the way this sizzles. It's just amazing. Little tiny strips. I wish they were a little bit bigger, but they're still gonna come out perfect to make a sandwich. Baby, look at the mushrooms.
These look awesome.
They really do. They really do.
Stoked.
Let's give them a try. Pick out a piece. What's the most mushroomy looking piece? First, tell me, what do you think about the look of it?
I mean, I think it looks like bacon. Like it does look, because it looks like pieces of bacon. It's kind of got, like that one is a little bit more crispy. This one's a little bit more juicy. They all look generally how bacon looks, you know, depending on how they're cooked.
Yeah, so it's kind of like fatty kind of bacon, but it looks meaty. Definitely has like a very strong, strong meaty look. Okay. Cheers.
Very good.
Right?
It's sweet. It's got a nice meaty bite to it. It's thin, so some crispiness to the edges, which is nice.
Salty. Yeah.
I actually think it's a little, it's sweet and salty.
So I was expecting them to be a little bit more salty than what they are. I was hoping for them to be like a little bit more salty.
And I do want to say it's not like difficult to taste the saltiness. Like I taste it, you know?
Yeah, they're definitely salty, but is it bacon salty?
Yeah. A little smoky, especially on these like crispier ones.
Yeah. As far as all of our bacons in the past, where would you put these?
Well, rice paper, then soy skin, then this.
Like one of my favorites is the king oyster mushroom, then the daikon bacon. The daikon bacon's my ultimate favorite.
They're all really
Rice
good.
paper is good. It's never been like one of my favorites. This is up there. This is definitely up there. I think the winner of this one is how incredibly easy it is to make. Almost definitely get portobello mushrooms at almost any grocery stores. I know some people have a hard time finding rice paper. Some people have a hard time finding king oyster mushrooms. People have a hard time finding the daikon. So with this, you can make a really good bacon
From anywhere.
from any basic grocery store. Will have all of these ingredients. I'm happy about this.
Woohoo!
Okay.
I like these.
Yeah, good,
Just
right?
like this.
Oh, that stuff?
I mean,
yeah.
I like it all, but.
Yeah.